Hi y'all, welcome to What's Popping! What's Popping focuses on the latest American pop news that piques your interest. If it's Sunday, January 5th, we have an article from the Slate titled The Haunted New Twist in the Blake Lively-Justin Baldoni Scandal, and it's written by Joe FILIPOVIC. And now let's get into it. There's a new twist in the dispute between actors Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, and it says a lot about our society than it does about them. Last month, Lively filed a legal complaint that claimed Baldoni and film director and producer Jamey Heath not only sexually harassed her on the set of their blockbuster hit It Ends With Us, but that they, alongside with their production company Wayfarer, hired a crisis public relations firm to smear her reputation this past summer after the film's release. The New York Times reported on the details of the allegations made in the complaint, which include messages from the crisis PR representatives asserting they could easily bury Lively. Baldoni and Heath deny any wrongdoing. The response to the story was gigantic, in part because the smear campaign against Lively was successful even beyond the scope of what the crisis PR firm could have hoped to accomplish. As one of the crisis PR reps who orchestrated the campaign put it in the message uncovered via subpoena, the amount of bashing Lively was subjected to online was actually sad because it just shows you have people really want to hate on women. Baldoni, known previously for his role on the CW's Jane the Virgin, was dropped by his talent agency. He had branded himself as a feminist, and after the Times report, an honor he received in December at a star-studded event for men who elevate women and promote gender equality was rescinded. His female co-host on a podcast called Man Enough quit the show. The documentation seemed incontrovertible with far-reaching implications. It showed, as the Times put it, an additional playbook for waging a largely undetectable smear campaign in a digital era. The new twist is that Baldoni, Wayfarer, and the crisis communications representatives have now sued the Times for libel for its reporting, claiming some $250 million in damages. Baldoni and Wayfarer don't dispute that they hired a crisis PR firm, but say that they did so out of a legitimate need for public relations protection from Lively herself, as they feared she was on the brink of taking some interactions out of context or of blowing them out of proportion. What happened on set, they argue, wasn't actually sexual harassment, and Lively's claims that it was are simply false. In fact, the lawsuit implies she was just a diva, and supposedly they're going to sue Lively soon too. Baldoni and Wayfarer's version of events, as detailed in a new lawsuit, is a funhouse mirror of Lively's. In her telling, sexual harassment is clear. In theirs, the interactions were professional or simply personal, but not in any way inappropriate. And so this is where we are in 2025, post-Me Too, 3 decades after the Anita Hill hearings, still quibbling over what sexual harassment even is. Lively says that Baldoni showed her a video of his nude wife giving birth, something she found shocking and wildly inappropriate. Baldoni says he did so in the context of discussing a birth scene in the movie, and that the video is not pornographic, but rather deeply personal with no sexual overtone. His wife, Baldoni's suit says, condone his showing it. In Lively's telling, Baldoni conveyed his wife's message by saying she isn't weird about this stuff, which Lively understandably took to imply that it might be weird for her to not welcome it. Lively also alleges that when filming a scene without sound, Baldoni went off script and out of character and ran his lips over her neck, telling her that she smelled good. She also says he also barged into her dressing room when she was breastfeeding. Lively says Baldoni and Heath talked about their past addictions to pornography, which made her extremely uncomfortable. When she tried to shut it down by saying she had never seen porn, she alleges Baldoni announced that claim to a larger group, compounding her discomfort. Baldoni's lawsuit doesn't respond in detail to every allegation, but says that Lively often nursed in meetings and other professional settings, and in fact invited her into a trailer while she was pumping. But Lively is far from the only villain in Baldoni's and his colleagues' telling. The New York Times itself, they say, has squandered its reputation as Times reporters have ever more frequently veered spectacularly from their own journalistic guidelines. When partisans deride the Times as fake news, a rallying cry for Donald Trump and his followers, they do so, the Baldoni suit says, with some justification. This is perhaps the most fascinating element. A self-styled male feminist defending himself by saying that the woman is lying and his actions warrant harassment, and then referencing the words of an incoming president who is notorious for being accused of sexual abuse many times over and who was found liable for it by a jury. It's totally possible that Baldoni and his co-defendants and co-plaintiffs are correct that Lively is a diva who made unreasonable demands and ostracized him. But even if Baldoni's version of events are true, it's a bit rich that a male feminist who claims he made this movie simply to help raise awareness about domestic violence and help survivors would refuse to take a hard look at the acts that are not in dispute, including showing a video of his wife giving birth to a work colleague. Lively has given birth to 4 children. She doesn't need to watch an unsolicited video of her co-star's nude wife giving birth to know what it entails. And that is all we've got for today's juice. You have been listening to What's Popping. I hope you enjoyed today's show and see you tomorrow. Bye!